Hello and welcome everyone to a beautiful evening here in Daytona Beach, Florida. It is time to round out the regular season of the NASMAR Community Cup Series. We are here for race 26. It's Daytona. As we all know, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 has been one of the, if not the craziest race on the calendar for years now. I mean, so many people racing, trying to get their way into the playoffs now that it's the regular season finale, which it's been since 2020. And it's pretty much a win-and-you're-in situation this year for those drivers outside of the cut line, because we do have more than 16 winners this year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens as we head to our ones to watch. Alex Bowman lines up on pole position in the 48. Can he convert this pole to a win? We'll see. Starting in second, it's the Penske car of Ryan Blaney. Ford expected to be really strong tonight. They usually are on these super speedways, with their front bumpers being better than the Toyota and the Chevy, but never count out those Toyotas. Bubba Wallace, really strong. Toyota's teamwork has been unbelievable. Look out for them. Another great super speedway driver from the Xfinity Series, Austin Hill, is in the 62 tonight for Beard Motorsports. Let's see what he can do here tonight. And Zane Smith in the 51. That's not Cody Ware, contrary to what the name tag banner says at the top. He won the truck race earlier this year at Daytona. We'll see if he can do that in NASMAR tonight as we get ready to roll off for this long 40-lap race here around Daytona. 100 miles up ahead of us. In row one, it's Alex Bowman alongside Ryan Blaney. That front row looking strong tonight with Hendrick and Penske. Row number two, we have William Byron in the 24 alongside Joey Logano in the 22 car. In row number three, we have the Colleague 31 of Justin Haley, that leaf filter car, and Bubba Wallace in the DoorDash number 23 for 2311 Racing starts sixth. Row number four, we have the FedEx Express car of Denny Hamlin for Joe Gibbs Racing, and the HendrickCars.com Hendrick driver of Kyle Larson starting in eighth. Down in P9, we have Daniel Suarez in the Comscope Trackhouse Chevy alongside fellow Chevy and Hendrick driver Chase Elliott in the Hooters number 9. Starting in 11th this evening, we have the two Auto Trader Penske car. That is Austin Cindric alongside the Mobile One Ford of Kevin Harvick, making his final career Daytona NASMAR start. It's Brad Keselowski in the 6th. He starts alongside AJ Allmendinger. Row number 7, they are 13th and 14th. Behind them, we have Christopher Bell in the Ream number 20. And the Advent Health Trackhouse Racing entry of Ross Chastain. Behind them, we have Todd Gilliland in the First Phase Credit Card 38 for Front Row Motorsports, and Noah Gragson for Legacy Motor Club. Row number 10, we have Austin Dillon in the Bass Pro Shops. Number 3 for Richard Childress Racing, and the Stuart Haas entry of Eric Amarola rounds out the top 20 in our starting grid tonight. Martin Truex Jr. for Joe Gibbs Racing in that 21st position, has never won on a super speedway. We'll see if he can do that. Stenhouse alongside him. Harrison Burton is alongside the 62. That's Austin Hill, two good super speedway drivers there. Lining up behind them, 25th, it's Kyle Busch in the Realtree number 8. And 26th, Tyler Reddick, the driver who used to be in that number 8 in the 45. 43 is Eric Jones this evening. Chase Briscoe alongside. They are 27th and 28th. Deep in the field, but anything could happen in Daytona, especially when the race is this lengthy. Ryan Prerace is alongside Michael McDowell in row number 15. That's your top 30 here this evening. I believe we have 39 cars in the field. Chris Buescher is alongside Corey LaJoie behind them. Row number 17. We have the 77 of Ty Dillon and the 54 of Ty Gibbs. We're going to ignore the condition of that Monster Energy 54 car, which, if it wasn't so beat up, would cost a lot of money, given how rare it is. Elio Castroneves is our Project 91 entry tonight. He starts alongside Zane Smith in row number 18. Row number 19, we have the 50. That's Connor Daly. In the 15, J.J. Yaley for Rick Ware Racing. And rounding out tonight's field is the Live Fast entry, the 78. That's not B.J. McLeod tonight. That is Josh Balicki in the Auto Trader number 78. We're going to race 40 laps tonight. Stages 11, 11, and 18. And I'm joined by Sean.
It's good to be back, Ethan. I'm ready for some NASMAR. Any driver that's looking on the outside or looking in, it's their last chance to get into the playoffs. Who's going to take the crown in the Coke 400 at Daytona?
Field in the hands of Alex Bowman now as they come out of turn number 4. Green flag is in the air. We are racing under the lights here at Daytona.
Hendrick teammates on the bottom, Penske teammates on the outside. Who's going to lead the first lap in the Coke Zero 400? In a 3 and 4. Bowman barely ahead of Blaney. Off the final corner, who's going to lead the first lap?
First lap barely led by Ryan Blaney. He now leads this race and gets clear, with Joey Logano also getting clear. Those two Penske cars jump down to the bottom off of turn 2.
Bubba Wallace now leading the outside lane as Alex Bowman is dropped from third after having a great qualifying run and starting on pole. He's going to need to get back up there, but he's got teammate Byron. When will they jump to the outside? It might happen towards the end of the stage, but we will find out and see and find out.
You would think in such a long stage, just starting off such a long race, this might be the record amount of laps for a NASMAR race. I'm not sure. I'll have to check later. You would just stay in line. As you can see, most people are doing that. Just a couple of cars in that outside line, but Ryan Blaney still leads the way.
Blaney continues to lead as they head into the trial.
Ryan Blaney right now leads, as we've already said 3 times in the last 10 seconds. He already has 2 wins this season in NASMAR, looking for a third, as he's already in the playoffs this season.
Every driver looking for points. As right now, Ross Chastain in 5th back there. Is he going to help those 2 Chevrolet teammates of Bowman and Byron get by the 2 Fords? Bowman jumps to the outside. Blaney goes to Ross. And around goes Ross into the infield. Cautions, first caution of the day.
Wow, drama already here from Daytona as Blaney takes a spin through the infield. I almost said grass. It's not really grass. It's pavement. But Blaney should be all right, as that car did only spin, didn't hit anything other than the front bumper of Alex Bowman's car, and as long as those tires aren't down, which he is driving away, he should be fine and stay on the lead lap here. You can just see he went up to make an aggressive block on Bowman, and we'll be right back. Back here in Daytona after Ryan Blaney spun. Gonna get ready to go back racing. Blaney will stay on the lead lap, but he's at the tail end of the longest line as we go back racing here on lap number 8 out of 40. Still 4 laps to go in the stage as we come back to the green flag. Bowman and Logano lead them to the green. We are back racing. Great push to Logano there. That is from Justin Haley in that 31 on the outside as they come out of turn 2.
Those 3 Hendrick cars up at the front, they brought some great super speedway packages, but it's Justin Haley in the calling number 31 out front.
You can see Denny and Bubba there. If they get clear, I would expect them to both go down and try to make a move here to win this stage in a couple of laps' time as they are on lap 9.
Is Denny going to help his driver of Bubba Wallace get back to the front? Those Toyotas, they've been, not a lot of them in the field, but they are really strong on the super speedways.
Yep, there it is off screen. They got the all clear, and Bubba down to the bottom with Hamlin. Here they come on the bottom. Bubba Wallace takes the lead of the Coke Zero Sugar 400 for the first time today.
Ricky Stenhouse way back in the sucker hole as Bubba Wallace leads for the first time today in Daytona. Alex Bowman back to the bottom of the racetrack, helping an enemy in real life, Denny Hamlin, after Hamlin's taken about 3 times in real life, but NASMAR, it's probably a lot different.
Bubba Wallace hanging onto this lead in front of Denny Hamlin, coming around to the final lap in stage number 1 here. Contact! Alex Bowman around, Suarez around, back up into traffic. You can see Harris and Burton involved there. Many cars involved in a crash that will take us to the end of stage number 1. Bubba Wallace will be your stage winner, but just absolute disaster behind them for most of the field, it looked like. As Harrison Burton out of this race, Todd Gilliland almost had a scary incident on pit road. Luckily, no live pit stops were going on there in those last few pit boxes because he hit the pit wall. Daniel Suarez is out of this race for Trackhouse. I think Chastain might have got a piece of this as well, so Castroneves, the only Trackhouse car to get through this, as here comes the field onto pit road. Bubba Wallace leads them down here at the end of stage 1, trying to get enough fuel to make it to the end of stage 2. Wallace is in 4 tires and fuel for the 23 car for 2311 Racing. Same could be said about the FedEx 11 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin, complaining right now that the car is a slight bit tight, but other than that, all good on the 11 team. He'll get a bunch of fuel to make it to the end of the second stage as well. Kyle Larson, saying the car is pretty decent right now, just needs a bit more speed. In that 5 car, we'll see what happens. Probably some tape on the radiator or something like that. Or the grill, my bad, as there's the race off pit road. We'll be right back here to Daytona. Breaking news here from Daytona. Chase Elliott, speeding on pit road, has been caught and will be sent to the rear of the field for the restart. So we welcome you back to the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Here's the reason we are under caution. Alex Bowman turned around sideways, collecting many others as Suarez went back up into the pack, and it looked like Stenhouse hit Haley, caused him to get loose down into Bowman, and Bowman got on that apron and just couldn't save it. Suarez trying to avoid, ended up turning back up into the pack, collecting many more cars, and initially could have been in this thing. As we get ready to restart here in stage number 2, green flag is back in the air here in Daytona. Looks like Blaney's going to get the lead down the backstretch.
Oh, big slide. Denny Hamlin was the first car to not have taken tires on the pit stop, but Bubba Wallace looked like he passed him right there, but Hamlin regains the position. Blaney leads Daytona. Keselowski second, Castroneves third.
Of the drivers who didn't pit, their top 3 right now, Daly falling a bit farther back, but all good right now. Keselowski, Castroneves, and Daly will all have to pit. Blaney, though, because he pit under that caution for his spin, will not, so he's legitimately the leader right now on track.
Blaney continues to lead. Those Fords with those flat front ends, they can push a lot harder than the Chevys and Toyotas with their somewhat pointed front noses. Here, Blaney continues to lead.
Yeah, Blaney's been really fast tonight. Dominant car so far by the looks of it, leading most of the laps, but of course they've been single file behind him most of the night so far. Brad Keselowski and Castroneves will pit soon, and that'll be a challenge as there will be a huge gap. Blaney's only challenge tonight was when he had to make a block, and he spun himself doing so. So, what to see for that 12 team if he has it.
You got to give a lot of credit to Elio Castroneves. He's a great IndyCar superstar, but how about this? Running third at Daytona, a drafting track, and winning first.
Connor Daly hitting pit road. This is a scheduled stop for the 50.
Blaney continues to lead. Daly might lose the draft here. This could put him a lap down. And Brad Keselowski dives in with Elio Castroneves.
All right, so those are all the pit stops we'll be seeing here this stage, I believe, as Denny Hamlin now leads.
Hamlin is the lead with Justin Haley and Bubba Wallace on the outside. Here comes Larson and Blaney with a run. Hamlin down the block.
So first time tonight, Denny Hamlin's had a sniff of the lead, and he's making good use of it, but here comes Justin Haley round the outside. He'll take the lead at Daytona, coming back down the racetrack. Haley now leads. Hamlin back to the outside, taking that top spot back.
They're catching the lap car, Connor Daly. What's going to happen there is Bubba Wallace now pushing his owner, Denny Hamlin, back out front. Well, a little loose for Hamlin. Here comes Haley with a run on the bottom.
Haley's run going to come to nothing. He's coming back. No, not quite, though. As they head back down towards turn 1, 3 to go in this stage here at Daytona. Who's going to win it?
45 of Tyler Reddick's right there. Both the 2311 racing cars. Those Toyotas are fast. Hamlin nearly spins off the teammate of Wallace.
Risky blocking for Denny, especially since it is only stage 2 and the only, guess he does need that playoff point here. Halfway, cross flags in the air. 20 laps down, 20 to go here at Daytona as Hamlin and Bubba jump down to the bottom, entering turn number 3 once again.
They've not caught the lap car of Connor Daly yet. Will he come into play towards the end of the stage?
You may catch him right when they come around to the line to end this stage, but other than that, I don't know. Hamlin up to block Byron very aggressively. Big push from Bubba, and Hamlin's in the wall and out of this race. Oh, big hit, and Denny Hamlin wrecks on the final lap of stage 2. Bubba Wallace will sweep the stage. And, oh man, he just took out his owner. We'll be back here to Daytona after 2 stages down.
Trishan and Hamlin blows a tire.
The old spin Harrison Burton hard in the wall.
Tonight's Coke Zero Sugar 400 is presented by the NASCAR Pepsi Cup Series, the Phantom Racing League, and we are heading down pit road here at Daytona. Welcome back. Bubba Wallace is in for 2 tires and fuel to try to make it as far as he can here, probably in stage number 3, which will need a pit stop most likely, but will be a fuel mileage game. We could see some people try to stretch it. William Byron also in the 24, taking a bunch of fuel. 2 tires as well. 2 tire stops for pretty much everyone here, as Alex Bowman also in that 48, that beautiful Ally Chevy. Not as beautiful as the 2023 one, though, as there's your race off of pit road. Bubba, Bowman, and Reddick, your top 3 for the restart, with Chastain and Blaney making up the top 5. As here's a look at what happened to end stage 2, in case you missed it and were just joining us. Big hit into the outside wall for Denny Hamlin after Bubba gave him a slight bump that moved him up the racetrack straight into the nose of William Byron. And that's Denny Hamlin's race done. So, Sean, I got to ask you now, do they wait to bring the chaos, or does it start now?
Well, it's the final race before the playoffs. These guys are getting ready. We're getting
Stenhouse already.
And Ricky Stenhouse, NASCAR's greatest pusher, way to the outside early. Drag race down the backstretch. Bowman and Bubba.
Dead heat down the back straightaway. Who's going to take the lead? Obviously, a bunch of cars, trying to go 3 wide now as, Bowman gets hung out to dry there by Ross Chastain.
Bubba edging out the lead. Ross Chastain nearly spins. He got contact with Bubba Wallace, and he's going to go to the lead. Down the back straightaway.
Dead even once again, but this time Ross Chastain gets clear out in front. He leads this race as they enter turns 3 and 4 once again. Big sideways for William Byron.
Almost wrecked Austin Hill with that. Holy cow.
Ross Chastain showing his cards now. He thinks it's go time with 14 to go.
Big fly by the field. Big run on the outside for Bowman. He comes down with Stenhouse.
Huge side draft for Bowman. They are getting aggressive, these guys.
It's go time in Daytona. Chastain back to the lead.
Go time is right as the block's going to get more aggressive and more castle start. Ross Chastain is in the wall. Many more collected. It's the big one at Daytona.
A lot of cars. Eric Almirola, William Byron, Briscoe, Cindric, Daly.
The majority of the field trashed here in Daytona. So many cars, as we heard Sean just listing them off there. That's not even close to everybody involved. Ross Chastain, Alex Bowman, the two who started it, and then they piled in behind. It's the dreaded consequence of this super speedway pack style of racing, the big one, as we call it here in NASCAR in the United States. That huge wreck that just destroys the pack and takes everybody out. And it was always going to happen with how aggressive these guys were getting with their pushes, side drafts, blocks, all of that, as they come on down pit road here for what should be the final time here this evening. We'll see what everyone does. Looks like Bubba Wallace coming in. Everyone looking for just a splash of fuel here, trying to make it as close as they can to the edge. Less fuel you put in these cars, the less heavy they will be, increasing their top speed, and when you're not in the draft, potentially, side by side for the win out in front, that could make all the difference between being in front and being that second placeman. And I mean, with so many winners, that could make the difference between your playoff hopes. As you see, Ryan Blaney wins the race off the pit road. We'll be back for the grand conclusion here in Daytona. Under caution in the Coke Zero Sugar 400 for this. Ross Chastain turned into the wall by Alex Bowman when he tried to block. And so many more caught up in the big wreck that we were all pretty much anticipating all night. You could see so many cars. Austin Hill, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch, and more out of this race. Josh Bilicki as well. As we get ready to restart this race late in the going, Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace lead them to the green.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is on that outside. He's a very aggressive pusher. What are we going to see? Is he going to immediately get to work, or is he going to lay back a little and wait for the right time late in the race?
Woo, Blaney sideways there. Oh my God. That slide might have been the reason Blaney couldn't get clear. Now they're still dead even, side by side. 8 laps to go here in Daytona. Who's going to win it?
They are side by side. Oh, Blaney's nearly up into Bubba.
This is again that moment in the race when the side drafts get more aggressive. The blocking is more pronounced, the pushing is heavier, and the commentators start going wild and don't know what they're talking about anymore.
The side draft is coming to play.
Bubba Wallace with the push from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. going to take the lead away. Stenhouse still on that outside line now as Bubba drops down. This is a good chance for Ricky, but he can't get the push. Here he goes. Justin Haley latches onto the back bumper and pushes Ricky Stenhouse to the lead. Wallace sideways, and as they come to the line, 6 laps to go. Here in Daytona in the regular season in NASMAR. Bubba Wallace back to the lead on the bottom and car around upside down. Oh no, Tyler Reddick flying through the air, a horrifying barrel roll for the 45.
Massive incident. A lot of damage to the 45.
Terrifying accident. I saw the car get turned around and, looked away for a slight second, and the next thing we knew, he was flying high. He was in an airplane. He was out of here. He was on his way to somewhere other than this racetrack. There's what happened off the bumper of Chase Elliott, and oh man, that is so tough to watch. The car dug in when it hit that grass and it sent it. It blew over. You could see it clip the grass just on the outside of the chicane. We'll be right back to Daytona. Tonight's race is presented by Rodco Customs. Oh boy, that was a very upbeat ad for what we just witnessed. Getting ready to restart though after the Tyler Reddick barrel roll with 6 laps to go. 2 to go on this restart, and Bubba Wallace will lead Ricky Stenhouse Jr. as they come back to the line. Green flag back in the air in Daytona. It's all about who could push better now, as Bubba and Stenhouse side by side. Stenhouse edges ahead. Harvick up to the outside trying to take the lead away here in Daytona.
Kevin Harvick making a run. His final season in NASMAR.
Big punch, here he comes. Harvick to the lead. White flag. One more time around Daytona and Harvick leads.
Harvick barely is going to lead that lap.
Wallace now takes the lead on the inside. Can he hang on? Half a lap to go from Daytona. Blaney makes a move and they crash. Christopher Bell tumbling, but they're side by side. No caution. It's AJ Allmendinger and Ryan Blaney. Who's going to win? They come back to the line, and it's Ryan Blaney in the closest of finishes.
2 1,000ths of a second. Oh my goodness, what a finish in Daytona. But a lot of cars involved on that final lap.
A 16-car crash wipes out all but I believe 7 cars here in Daytona Beach with Christopher Bell on his lid. He's moving around in the car. Obviously, can't tell if the window net is down because of how gravity works. A frightening accident, though, as Ryan Blaney gets his 3rd win of the NASMAR Community Cup Series 2023 season, here to end the regular season. Oh, what a race this was. You can see all the destruction. Bubba Wallace, one of the dominant cars of the day. Ricky Stenhouse, Justin Haley, all in it late. Harvick was going for the win. What a storybook ending that would have been to Harvick's Daytona career. 2007 500 champion, but it wasn't meant to be. Here's a look at what happened. Blaney tried going 4 wide. He was getting desperate for the win, and he just wrecked Bubba Wallace, and then Christopher Bell got turned behind. Now here's the finish. They were side by side because AJ snuck through with more momentum, but then Blaney got a huge push from Truex, and after a bit of slamming, managed to take the win. It was Buescher who came down the track into the side of the 20 and just completely flipped him over. Wow. And same spot as Tyler Reddick, so he dug into that grass, and from there it was just a violent, nasty flip. Glad to see Christopher Bell actually get out of that car and all right. There was the finish again. You could hardly even tell at the line. We've seen slightly closer before, but that's one of the closest finishes we've seen, especially here at Daytona. Here are your results. Ryan Blaney gets his 3rd win of the season over AJ Allmendinger, Chase Elliott, and Martin Truex Jr. And Noah Gragson round out your top 5. Ty Dillon and Zane Smith round out your entire finishing field, with Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out the top 10. Those 3 all collected in the last lap crash. Bell flipped, ended the race on his roof in turn 3, and still manages to get a top 10. How about that? Preece, Harvick, Buescher, Haley, Keselowski, LaJoy, Dillon, Kester Neves, Yaley, McDowell, and I believe 3 others as well. I might be wrong there. All collected on the last lap crash. Yeah, I think the 3 others were Smith, Gragson, and whoever was in between them. The 77, right? Ty Dillon. But just so much destruction there. Kester Neves almost made it to the end of his first NASCAR race, but you got to expect that at Daytona. Tyler Reddick crashed out on lap 35 when the car got turned around, got some air, and dug into that grass and just flipped violently at least 3 or 4 times, I believe. Chastain, Bowman, Hill, Almirola, Byron, Briscoe, Larson, Busch, McLeod, all taken out in that big crash with, I believe it was 12 laps to go. Entering turn number 1 when Bowman turned Chastain, when Chastain made a block. Logano, Jones, Cindric, Connor Daly all involved in that. Denny Hamlin was involved in that last lap crash in stage 2. Ty Gibbs was out of this race after stage 1 with an engine failure that I completely forgot to cover there, and all the excitement after the big crash to end stage 1 with Suarez, Burton, Gilliland, and more out of the race. So much chaos here tonight in Daytona. Just such a fun race. Thanks to Sean for commentating that with me. It was very fun. Make sure to like and subscribe to both my channel and the NASMAR Community Cup Series channel on YouTube if you want to see more of this. What a race here at Daytona. I'm so excited for the playoffs. Tune in to Gavin Beers' channel next week to catch the Darlington playoff opener on Sunday. Boy, it's going to be a fantastic race, I can tell, especially after watching that Pocono race he did in July. This is FireLynx signing off from Daytona.